Welcome back, and we are ready to start our City Council formal meeting for January 5th, 2021. So welcome to everybody that is tuning in, and happy to see our councilors back from our long work session that started at 3 p.m. I wanted to make sure that I see everyone. I am not seeing Councilor Mims. Will someone reach out to Councilor Mims, please? My city clerk office will.
Yep, I can do that.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna just wait a little bit just to give Mayor Pro Tem, give Councilor Mims, oh, there she is. All right.
Sorry about that.
No worries. All right, we are gonna go ahead with a roll call, please.
Burgess,
Here.
Mims, Tilly,
Here.
Taylor,
Here.
Teague,
Here.
Thomas,
Here.
Weiner.
Here.
All right, well, welcome everybody once again. Happy to be in 2021 with you virtually. And we're gonna just jump right into our agenda with agenda item number 2, which is proclamations. And this is Martin Luther King Jr. Day proclamation. So whereas the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. believed that each individual possesses the power of self-fulfillment regardless of their circumstances, and that it is the duty of all human beings to strengthen communities, alleviate poverty, and harness the potential of us all. And whereas Dr. King's dream of transforming the world into one free from discrimination and intolerance continues in the minds of millions and has not been forgotten since his devastating death on April 4th, 1968. And whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dedicated his life to promoting peace, freedom, and opportunity through nonviolent means, and whereas the teaching of Dr. King can continue to guide and inspire us in addressing challenges in our communities, and whereas there are numerous ways to show service and respect to others, such as volunteering at your local hospital, donating books and games to families in need, organizing a food drive in your school, volunteering at a senior center, and many others. And whereas the city of Iowa City joins with other towns and cities across the country in tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., now therefore I, Bruce Teague, Mayor of Iowa City, do hereby proclaim Monday, January 18th, 2021 to be Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Iowa City, and urge all to join me in the celebration thereof and to take this opportunity to reflect upon Dr. King's message of the principles of justice and equality for all. And to receive this proclamation today is our Human Rights Commissioner, Bijou. Welcome, Bijou.
And I'm having issues again, so Lily is going to have to assist.
Great. 1 second, Bijou, and we'll get you over to speak. There you are. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Teague. The life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. continue to inspire and impact all of us to build a just community, to build a community in which diversity of community and idea is valued, and in which all members of the community are committed to the highest standards of ethical conduct and integrity. As we pause to remember Dr. King's legacy, let us not forget his famous quote, "The time is always right to do what is right." On behalf of the Human Rights Commission, I would like to thank Mayor Teague and council members for this proclamation and also for your leadership this year. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for all the work that you and the commissioners do in our Human Rights Commission. Moving on to our consent agenda. Could I get a motion to approve items 3 through 8?
So moved by Saleh. Second, Weiner.
All right. If anyone from the public would like to address any item that's on our consent agenda, please raise your hand. And if you're on the phone, press *9 and I'll call on you. And we ask that you keep your comments 3 to 5 minutes. Seeing no one, council discussion. And I do see a hand raised, councilors. I'm going to go back. Oh, I don't see a hand raised anymore. All right. It didn't seem like council. So we are at roll call, please.
Burgess,
Yes.
Mims,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Weiner.
Yes.
Item passes 7-0. Item number 9. This is a time for community comment, and we ask that people raise their hand, and we ask that you keep your comments 3 to 5 minutes. The other thing is, if there is any item that is on our agenda, we ask that you wait for that agenda item to speak. So I'm going to start with Mel, followed by David. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. First, since I didn't get a chance to do this the last time, I want to share my gratitude with the council for electing me to be on the Truth and Reconciliation Mission. I'm really excited to get to know and work with you guys. So just to get that out of the way, the views that I'm speaking just represent myself. So I was listening to your work session earlier, and I really agreed on a lot of the stuff that Mazahir specifically said regarding the translating of the police document. And there was another counselor who mentioned maybe not translating at all, just doing like the important key stuff that we want to work on. I think that's a really good idea. Coming from an immigrant family, I can say that if my parents were a little bit more knowledgeable about the laws that went on in the city and how the police department kind of moves and works, I think they would have been able to educate me a little bit better. Also, a large portion of the Sudanese population and the Congolese population have young boys and girls that are probably going to live here for a while, since the city is pretty great to raise a family in. So I think you should really take that into consideration. I also really liked what Laura said about kind of making it each listening topic kind of a focus on what specific things. And I really hope that you guys can get the ball running on that, because I think once it gets going, it'll be a lot of help. I also heard you guys discussing COVID and having the Department of Public Health come speak maybe in the future. I also think something to think about in regards to COVID right now, especially since getting the vaccine is coming up and a lot of people are kind of worried. I think it would mean a lot to the Black community, especially in Iowa City, if, let's say, when Mayor Teague got his COVID shot, if you could, post a picture or something, or we have our, Johnson County Supervisor, our first Black woman, Royceanne Porter, if she ends up getting it, if she could take a picture, and same with Mazahir, she could help a lot of the Sudanese community kind of understand and maybe lose the fear with that, because those populations are the ones that aren't sure about it and don't trust the health system. And that's all right. They have every right not to trust the health system, but I think that it's very important because COVID is disproportionately killing and affecting that population a lot more. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for giving me this time to speak.
Thank you, Amel. We'll have David, welcome, followed by Nicholas. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'd just like to talk about both the proposal for police changes that the city manager put out and the budget proposals that he put out within the last couple of weeks. So, first, I just felt sick and saddened reading the city manager's proposal. After the traumatic summer that we had, the traumatic summer that Black people in Iowa City had, after hearing hundreds and thousands of the most vulnerable citizens in Iowa City resist the bloated police budget and the incomprehensible spread of police power, the city manager proposes increasing their budget and increasing their power. After he saw the police force shooting tear gas and flash grenades into a group of young people standing still with their hands in the air, his response is to give those shooters more money and more influence. And there's no morality in a city government that looks at this past summer and decides that those that did harm to other humans deserve more money and more power. And the problems with the proposal itself are vast. And so there's really nowhere to start, but I sent my feedback in already. And really what this proposal is doing is expanding the reach of the police, the power of the police, by adding partnerships between police and community organizations, and adding cops in civilian clothing by adding these outreach officers in similar positions. And whether they're employed by the city or the police department is not terribly consequential because they're not addressing structural issues. And so if there's one thing I can say, it's that it's insulting and offensive that the city manager started his presentation by proposing that Iowa City is somehow a leader in any of this. And during the work session, Laura Burgess just challenged us to find communities who have approached change more comprehensively. And I'm offended by this because the document goes on to propose dozens of things that have already been tried for decades. And there's absolutely nothing new in this proposal. Maybe it's new to some of you, but it's not new to the Black and brown scholars and activists who have been doing this work for decades. And the majority of these things have only expanded police power, surveillance, abuse, and violence. And it's insulting because looking at this document as progressive is thumbing your nose at the Black and brown women and femmes who have quite literally dedicated and given their lives to struggling against police violence in communities across the country for many decades. And so the city manager is looking at those Black and brown people and rejecting their work and their intelligence as less than his. And I'm offended by his rejection of their work in favor of his, because he's new to this and has not done his homework outside of consulting his friends in the police department and consulting the local social groups that he knows already agree with him. And at this point, it's no longer an innocent ignorance, because we've come to you dozens of times with offers to help you consult the Black scholars and organizers of the last 6 decades who have investigated what's necessary for community safety. And by the way, we're still here and happy if you want to discuss resources. But from the evidence I've seen personally, only Mayor Pro Tem and Councillor Thomas have ever really respected us and earnestly worked with us. We haven't even gotten an email response from our own mayor since June. And we know you're not interested in IFR's feedback at this point, and you're intentionally leaving our name out of these lists and documents of people whose feedback you're interested in, but at least consult someone who is organized around this before last June, because it's clear that that's not happening right now. So when we're begging you to consult experts and their work around the country, what we're saying is, if people like Ruth Wilson Gilmore feel inaccessible, please tell us and we can help. Like if Angela Davis feels inaccessible, please tell us and we can help find materials and guides on how to apply these complex social themes to our city. But we won't let you co-opt the Black Lives Matter movement. It's a movement that was started by 3 queer Black women in 2013 that specifically was in opposition to state power, and to this day is fundamentally about defunding the police and moving those resources into life-giving institutions like housing, food, education, job training. Study those women and study what they spent the last several decades fighting for. But when you say Black Lives Matter out of one side of your mouth, and then you empower and increase funding to the police force, you're not only attempting to steal and co-opt a movement, but you're spitting in the face of those 3 Black women who are fundamentally dedicated to defunding the police and what every BLM activist is fighting for at the core of the movement. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We'll have Nicholas followed by Oliver.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to address, well, first of all, I would actually like to second everything David just said. He put it far more eloquently than me, so I'm not going to rehash what he said. Listen to what he said. It's there. It's been recorded. You can go back and hear it all again if you want. I want to address something that was brought up near the end of the work session, and it has to do with, I can't remember if Councillor Mims brought it up or if she was responding to it. Apologies. But it's this issue of only really focusing on the public comments from people who quote unquote live in the Iowa City city limits. And I would like to present to you a case for why that's actually an extremely bad idea. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the largest employer in the entire state is located in Iowa City, which means that most of the people who work there and thus are directly affected by the policy decisions that you all make don't actually live within the city limits. And in fact, your housing policy decisions over the past 10 or so years, I say your meaning council, not necessarily specifically each of you, but collectively, your decisions regarding housing policy have actually shunted working class people out of the city. I am actually one of those people. I was a longtime resident of the city. I live in Coralville now, so I guess you get to disregard my opinion now too, Councilor Mims, although you've always disregarded my opinion, so I don't see how that would be different. But anyone who makes less than $40,000 a year and lives in the area knows how they have been steadily pushed out of the city. And they've been pushed out of the city by the way in which you all have gentrified it. So to sit there and act like, well, we only care about the opinions of the people who live in the city limits, you're basically just saying that you only care about the opinions of the bougie white people that you hang out with all the time. That's it. That's all you're really saying. I mean, you may not think that you're saying that, but that's what the working class people of this community actually hear, because they all know what you're doing to them, but you don't care. So I guess this is the last time I'm going to have anything to say on really any issue, because you all have made it abundantly clear that you just don't give a crap about what people in the surrounding area think. You don't care about what people who have been excised from the community think. So I guess I'll just take my leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Oliver, welcome, followed by Annie.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. My name is Oliver. I'm an Iowa City resident. I'm a caretaker for 7 years now. I've been a caretaker for individuals with autism, working group homes. I specialize in those with some maladaptive behaviors. I just wanted to start this off by giving a few cases around the country that really, weigh on my mind every single night when I go to sleep and I think about my clients and their needs. Just a few months ago, there was a 13-year-old boy named Lyndon Cameron. He lives in Salt Lake City, and he was shot 11 times while unarmed. He has autism, and his mother called for help when he was having an emotional crisis. He was shot in the back 11 times. I want to talk about Ricardo Munoz, 27-year-old man, black man with mental illness from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He was shot after his sister called for help during a mental health crisis. Willie Henley, a 60-year-old man with mental illness from Buffalo, New York. He was shot after a mental health crisis call. One that really gets to me, Daniel Prude, a 41-year-old man suffering from a mental health crisis. He was killed by police after they put a hood over his head and forced his face into the pavement for over 2 minutes. And this one really gets me. This man, Charles Kinsey, he is a caregiver of people with behavioral health, maladaptive behaviors, exactly like myself. He was shot by a police officer trying to retrieve his patient who had run away from the group home. The patient was holding a toy truck, and the officer said that he thought that it was a weapon. And in attempting to shoot his patient, the officer accidentally shot Charles Kinsley, the therapist, similar to myself. Like I said, this particular case keeps me up at night the most because I could easily see myself in that exact same position, out in the community with one of my clients who enters a behavioral crisis, and the police show up and could hurt potentially him or me. These are just a handful of examples of the absolute epidemic of police needlessly maiming and murdering people with mental illness. Disproportionately, those people are people of color. The only way that you can force police to stop needlessly responding to situations where they are not needed and where their very presence can escalate the situation is to take away their funding and give it to unarmed, trained professionals that have no ties to law enforcement. And police departments, they show time and time again that no matter what toothless guidelines or policies that they're given, no matter how much money we throw at them for quote unquote trainings, they continue to just do whatever they want anyways, because they have no reason to believe that they'll be held accountable for their actions. And why should we believe that the city of Iowa City will hold police to any form of accountability when the Iowa City Police Department officer, Travis Neild, who racially profiled and brutalized a Black man and was condemned for doing so by a federal judge, still has his job and still patrols our streets? Why would we believe the city will hold the ICPD accountable when we still haven't gotten so much as a public condemnation for the ICPD attacking hundreds of mostly young people with chemical weapons this summer without provocation? And even in us asking for that body cam footage to be released so we could understand what was going on, the city manager, Greg Fern, released alongside with that body cam footage, unrelated security camera footage of some protesters breaking windows, and the disgusting comparison of a broken window to the health and safety of hundreds of young people aside, that shows that the city government is scared of the police, and they're so scared of the police that you can't even release neutral footage without making some weird both sides argument. And you want to narrow the scope of policing, you cut their budget, you fire officers, you invest in your community, you invest in non-law enforcement crisis intervention, not more cops wearing different uniforms. You invest in public housing, not wealthy real estate developers who are driving up our cost of living. You invest in mental health, schools, food co-ops, public transportation, mental health care, community pantries, harm reduction programs, not more tasers. Come on, y'all. To pass a budget that gives more money to the police, to not even make an attempt to step in the right direction, you are choosing to ignore the desperate pleas of all who participated in the largest civil rights protest movement in the history of the country. You are choosing to ignore the pleas of these frankly badass and brave young Black organizers in the city, and you're choosing to continue with the status quo that brutalizes and oppresses innocent Black, brown, indigenous, neurodivergent, working class people. And you can lie to yourselves and continue to grasp at excuses as to why you can't do it. You can say, oh, it's too late, we have to try again next year, or yada, 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 or whatever helps you all sleep at night. Or you can do something courageous, historic even. You can do something that will actually mean tangible improvements to the lives of poor and marginalized people in the community. So I really ask that the city council reconsider and listen, and basically everything that Dave said as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oliver. Annie, welcome, followed by Maya.
Hi.
Oh.
So first I would like to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so first I would like to commend everything that people have said in the public comment before me. It's really scary to speak to city officials that are actively suppressing our voices and ignoring our seat at the table. So thanks for that. And I would like to add, so City Manager Jeff Fruin's budget proposal for the Iowa City Police Department often suggests pairing the police with potentially life-saving organizations in the community, which is completely tone deaf to the demands of Iowa City's constituents. What we have told you time and time again as our representatives is to reduce the presence of the police in our town. Instead, you're asking for police to take a larger role in interfacing with vulnerable people that need support and resources without the threat of criminalization based on their class, race, or citizenship status. Instead, the city manager is proposing to follow the trend of increasing the police budget. Already there has been a $5 million increase in ICPD since 2010, and that does not include the presence of UIPD or State Patrol. Please consider putting the police's inflated budget towards building quality low-income housing, rent assistance, or through meaningful public institutions in the community like the library. Jeff Fruin in June said, quote, "I have not done enough to seek out the voices that have been suppressed. I have not pushed hard enough for our local government to proactively address racial inequities. It should not take the murder or protest to demand change. As city manager, these responsibilities fall on my shoulders and I accept accountability. Clearly, there has been absolutely no progress since then. Reformism has been present in our city and country for decades and has led to increased police discretion and surveillance of its citizens, especially Black and brown people. As a constituent, I am demanding that the council rejects Fruin's disastrous proposal and replace them through democratically elected means. Future proposals of the budget for ICPD should defund the police, as influenced by the demands via Iowa Freedom Riders. The council's calls to end systemic racism are purely lip service. Meanwhile, you are all continually threatening the well-being and lives of the most vulnerable in our town. We all see it, and we will all continue to pressure you until you listen to us. As Ms. Molly quoted earlier, Martin Luther King Jr., the time is always right to do what is right. Thank you.
Annie, will you let us know what your last name is, please?
Do I have to?
We ask that you do, but if you don't want to, that's up to you.
I'll pass today, but thank you.
Thank you. All right. Maya, followed by Harry.
Good evening. My name is Maya Sims, and I am speaking in support of the Iowa Freedom Riders and their efforts. As a young person in this community, it's devastating to see the City Council tell us that they are going to work to make things more just, and then turn around and do the exact opposite of what your constituents are asking for. And what we're asking for is a just and a safe community. In your emails and in the way that the council has advertised this restructuring, you act like you have listened to the community and are making changes based on that. But the problem is you're not listening. You've managed to give the police department even more funding and resources, despite evidence given to you by the Freedom Riders that suggests this is not the solution. If you're not going to do the work to find out how transformative justice and accountability can be used in our community, at least listen to the people who have been doing the work. Listen to the people who will determine if you stay in your elected office when it comes time to vote. How can you possibly proclaim MLKJ Day and consider increasing police funding in the same breath? I cannot believe that after the year we've just had, we still have to beg you not to give this ineffective and discriminatory institution more money. Do your part, protect your constituents, and please do not approve a budget that seeks to give the police more resources. Just as IFR is doing, there are many incredible community organizations doing the work, filling in the gaps where the city does not. Fund them and don't support state violence. This is not a matter of a few changes and our voices will go away. This is a matter of systemic change. Increasing police involvement in community orgs is the opposite of what we've asked for. Police need to step aside so that the professionals can do their job. Council, please reject this budget and these proposals that seek to give more power to an institution that has terrorized our community. I stand in complete support of the Iowa Freedom Riders' efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Harry, welcome, followed by Amelia.
Hi, my name is Harry Monaligod, and I'm here to address the absolute joke of a proposal brought forth by Josh Fruin. This proposal is quite frankly disgusting. This community, people of all races, ages, gender, and class, people from all walks of life came together this summer to tell you that we need to significantly divest from the police and instead spend money on fighting crime with social programs that get to the root of the problem. And what do you turn around and do? You propose that we give the police more money for weapons. The fact that this plan is even being considered shows me that my government, my city, does not ultimately care about Black people, homeless people, trans people, and everybody that feels an inherent guilt rather than safety when a police car drives down the street. I've lived in Iowa City for just about my entire life. And I know that racism and police brutality happen here. I remember when I graduated high school, a police officer by the name of Travis Graves assaulted a 15-year-old Black boy for being too loud in a public space. And you continue to pay him for years. That was 5 years ago, but this city council, specifically Susan Mims and Janice Weiner, refused to fight this problem with any sense of urgency. Instead, you whine about property damage and the structure of our government and appeal to proceduralism because deep down, you don't really care about us. I was there when police tear gassed your citizens. There were high schoolers in that crowd, and the police committed a war crime on us. It left me with a trauma that I'll never forget, and it left me with an anger that will only get worse if you give the police more money. How can you watch your constituents get attacked and brutalized and draw the conclusion that the guys with guns and chemical weapons need more resources? I've called this place my home for my whole life, and this proposal is a betrayal to the people you're supposed to protect.
Thank you, Harry. I'm going to have Amelia. And we asked if you've already spoken, we ask that you take your hand down. We only really request that people speak one time to the council. So Amelia, welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So I would like to start off by a quote by Senator Nina Turner that says, "We have two dragons we have to slay, the dragon of neo-fascism and the dragon of neoliberalism. And in this case, you, City Council, are the neoliberals that we're talked about. Upholding and enabling neo-fascism, such as the police department, such as upholding and enabling fascism, such as the police department. So I really don't know how any more obvious IFR and their supporters can be about their stance on police funding. We've made it abundantly clear that we want ICPD to be defunded and those funds reallocated and redistributed to many underfunded social and community services. Iowa City has such as corridor community care network, the shelter house, affordable housing, public schools, new mental health clinics, public housing, and public transportation, et cetera, et cetera. The list can go on. So it really is like you're spitting in our faces with this proposed budget that you have. There is more than enough research why police reform does not work, specifically this type of police reform, which is funding the police even more. It will not ever work. You can't reform racism and white supremacy. I don't know why this isn't clear to some of you city council members. Not only that, but bad policing isn't because of a few bad apples, as people say. It goes all the way into the roots, and those roots hold the last 200 years of slavery, police brutality, white supremacy, and classism, et cetera, et cetera. So therefore, there are no good cops in a racist system. There's no way to reform. Another thing is that I would like to remind you all is that you are public servants elected to serve your constituents. And your constituents are IFR and the hundreds of people that came to protest, came together over the summer demanding ICPD be defunded. So I think it would be wise to listen to your constituents, specifically IFR that you all ignore, and do your jobs. It's also just a fact that the safest communities have the most resources and not the most cops. So I urge you to reject the bloated police budget that they're proposing. And I also second everything that everybody has said in public comment, David, Nicholas, Oliver, Annie, etc. I think they made some really good points specifically about affordable housing. I've lived here my whole life. I was born here, and there's no way possible at all that I could afford a one bedroom here in Iowa City. And I think that's really disgusting considering that I see all these skyscrapers and shit tall buildings being built. So I think it's, yeah, just a disgrace. And I think that we need to do a better job at that. And I also would like to bring to attention, I'm not sure what street it is on, but it's outside like Hamburgen and Oasis. There's these large outdoor dining type mini houses. And I just think that's really weird to be doing one in a pandemic and doing that on that closed off street, especially when our unhoused community members go unhoused. And I think it would be really smart to do something like that for our homeless community here, and also just step it up in general for our homeless community here, and use those reallocated funds from the Iowa City Police Department to really help our unhoused community members. So yeah, I urge you all to vote no on this police budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Amelia. We're going to have Megan followed by Letitia.
Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Hi, thank you for listening to me tonight. I've been watching the meeting tonight, and I have some concerns, and I felt like I needed to express my lack of confidence of the proposal for the expansion of the police budget. I really don't believe that increasing the police budget is going to solve our current problems. I'm a long-term resident of the city, and I feel that it actually may exacerbate them. And especially after hearing, more people tonight, I feel that there's a segment of the population that doesn't feel heard clearly. And, if they're so angry, the way they're talking to the council tonight. I do believe that the money could be better allocated, and you could increase spending for expansion of social programs that would aid your constituents. People have talked about expanded mental health care, which I think is so important, especially during this time of crisis that we have here in this country. It's unprecedented, and expansion of housing and food banks, I feel would be helpful to deter the crime that I think that you're afraid of. I think that there's this fear that we need to have expanded police force in order to deter crime, when in fact, if people were motivated to remain in the community because they felt safe and they felt taken care of in a lot of ways, I think that there wouldn't be as much crime. So I appreciate that you're listening to me tonight, and I just want to reiterate, I don't support the expansion of the police budget in its current form. I don't support the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. We're going to have Letitia. Welcome.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Good evening. I like to support everything that has been said so far about making sure that we don't increase the police budget, but actually allocate that money to other resources. As a member of the Community Police Review Board, the City Council has asked us to come up with a bunch of recommendations for making our board more effective, to have more teeth, to make sure that we make sure that the police are accountable to the community. And some of the recommendations you're going to see are going to include for more resources for mental health providers, more resources for making sure people know about the board, and just more resources in general especially for mental health providers and for people who help people who are in crisis. So for us, in order for some of the recommendations that the board is going to bring to you, in order for those things to occur, we're going to need some funding, and adding more funding to as far as especially patrolling or hiring more police. That's not going to help us as a board to reach the goals that we want to do, to reach some of the recommendations that we are going to bring to you. So I'm asking you to reconsider the budget that you are now trying to propose to the community as far as increasing the amount of money to the police. I know that you consider the CPRB to be maybe part of the police, but some of the recommendations that we're making actually involve decreasing money to the police and adding that money to the community. So thank you.
Thank you, Letitia. I do see some hands raised that have already addressed the council. I'm not sure if they're still raised for some reason. Welcome, Bailey Baker.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So, sorry, this is my first time ever talking at something like this, but I would like to reiterate what everyone else has said tonight. That I do not support at all this further funding the police. I was reading on the Iowa City website today that the strategic plan to foster a more inclusive, just, and sustainable Iowa City by prioritizing the physical, mental, and economic well-being of all residents is being taken seriously by this council at all. I took a look at the city budget today, and I took a note that 87.85% is funded by our property taxes, which also makes me question who is being listened to, because obviously there are many people that are not okay with further funding the police. The ACLU of Iowa said that Black youth in Iowa are 6.5 times more likely to be charged with a simple misdemeanor and enter the juvenile justice system than a white kid. In Iowa, Black people are 7.3 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession than white people are. And the ACLU nationwide said that Black girls are 8+ times more likely, which means it's at the very top. There are some with, I think we're in the top 4 states that Black girls are 8+ times more likely to be arrested than white girls in Iowa. And so it's kind of disappointing to see, it's very disappointing when we like to act like Iowa City is this place that doesn't have these problems and that we can take them any less seriously. We saw this summer what the police will do to protesters. I was there, I was tear gassed. And along with you refusing to give IFR a seat at the city council table, I am very disappointed, and I do not believe that you are going to follow through with your strategic plan at all if this is what is going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Bailey. Is there anyone else that would like to address this topic that haven't already spoken? If so, please raise your hand. I do see Oliver and Megan hand raised if you've already addressed this, and Amel, you've already addressed council during this time. Is there anyone else that would like to address this topic? Seeing no one else new, I see Mark Nolte. Welcome, Mark.
Good evening. I just really appreciate listening tonight and many of the comments that are made. I just want to say I'm proud to live in this community. What happened this summer with the murder of George Floyd was horrible and wrong, and so many other senseless tragedies around the country that were brought into the nation's attention where the police killed Black Americans. It was horrible and wrong. I'm proud that our city council and our mayor and so many people in the community came out and marched against these atrocities and called them for what they are. I'm proud that our community does work to house the homeless when most don't. The new GuideLink Center is a huge improvement in serving those in need, and I'm excited for that to open. And I'm proud that our community has been taking steps to improve policing for years, and I think this plan is a strong continuation of that tradition. It's not perfect, but change never is. I'm also proud to be friends with several members of the Iowa City Police Department. I know them to be good, kind human beings who got into these careers because they just want to serve, because they want to keep people safe and they want to work for justice. They know that there are problems systemically with the way America has traditionally handled policing. They know that many times they are called into situations that would be best handled by mental health professionals. They know firsthand that many crimes are committed out of the realities of income inequality, where people are just trying to find a way to survive. They also know that every day they go to work, they are in danger. There is violence in every community, and when there's trouble, it's their job to put their life on the line for others. They go where they are called, no questions asked, and for that they deserve our appreciation. Every community needs law enforcement. They know that there's a problem of racism in this country, we all do, and we have to continue to find ways to come together on that. So our community needs the right kind of policing from the right kind of people, and I trust that these changes are one step in making sure we are on that path and there will be a constant need to evaluate and improve every day. We know that. Anyway, I want to thank the activists who've made their voices heard to demand change. I'm excited for the future with what these young people and their passion will do. I thank the good men and women who became police officers for the right reasons, and I thank you as the council for the spot you're in. You can't make both sides happy in this. No matter what you do, it will be too much for some and nothing at all for others, but that's the job, and I think you're all up to it, and I think you're doing your best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Jalen, welcome.
Hey, my name is Jalen Cavill. I wasn't even going to speak. I've just been listening, but after hearing what Mark just said, I just had to raise my hand because I think it's, kind of wild for a white man to come on here and tell folks that we should be appreciative of cops and that every community needs law enforcement. I think that's completely misguided. And for him to use the trope of I know good cops and these cops want to help people, just lets me know that he really has no full understanding of what systemic racism is and what people are talking about when they're talking about systemic racism in policing. For y'all to be considering raising the budget of the Iowa City Police Department, I think is abhorrent. I think any city council member and the mayor that votes yes on this is showing people exactly where they stand. If they have not already shown that, you are completely disrespecting IFR and the organizers and the activists who've been fighting all summer long. And now to get the police department defunded, if you do vote yes on this, it will be a slap in the face to every organizer and activist, and IFR specifically, who deserves praise, who deserves to have a seat at the table always, who deserves to be running these conversations and really be leading things. You all really need to reconsider this position. And I really, really hope that you vote no on this. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. And if you've already addressed this topic, we only ask that you address us once tonight. Seeing no one, we are going to move on to item number 10, planning and zoning matters. This is 10A, Carson Farm Annexation, a resolution to annex approximately 196.17 acres of land located west of Highway 218 and south of Railroad Road. Could I get a motion to approve?
So move.
Second, Mims.
Moved by Saleh, seconded by Mims. And is there anyone in the public that, well, we're going to go to staff presentation.
Good evening, Mayor. I really don't have a presentation on this one. If you'd like a recap, I can give it to you quickly, but we gave a presentation with the first reading back in December.
I just noticed that we had a display, which I'm not totally used to that.
Yeah, sorry, I can take the slides down for the ones where I won't give a presentation if that's more helpful tonight.
No, you're fine. Yes, you're totally fine. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. Welcome, Sarah Barron, followed by John.
Hi, Council. Thanks very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. I wanted to reiterate what was discussed at your last council meeting, which is that this annexation is a significant opportunity for you all to put some guidelines and policies in place that will secure the type of housing development you want to see in this area. It's not the only step in the process, but it is a significant one. And if you are considering making changes to your affordable housing requirements, I believe that you want to strongly consider waiting on this annexation until you have a firmer idea of what that might look like. You'll be giving up a significant amount of leverage if you move forward with the annexation tonight without considering additional changes you might want to make in securing affordable housing for the area. I know you've had compelling arguments from both sides, but I also know that you're building a really strong vision for what affordable housing should look like in this community and the ways it should be integrated into our new neighborhoods. And I encourage you to think carefully about the power that you have in this decision moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, John.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the council members. John Marner with MMS Consultants. I want to take a moment first to thank you for your time and consideration of this application. I know there's been a healthy amount of discussion about this site, as the previous speaker alluded to. There's been a lot of concerns raised. I believe that you all should have a letter in front of you, or should have received a letter dated December 9th from Jesse Allen that tried to address a lot of some of the concerns that have been raised with some of his responses. I'd like to take a moment to just briefly run through a few of those, and then I'll be available for any questions if there's any questions from the council members. As you know, it's the northern portion of this property is already annexed into the city. So the annexation is for the southern portion of the property, and that's already listed in the city's growth area. There's a current district plan for the area that was adopted in 2002. I know there's additional work being started by staff, and has been discussion with P&Z and staff and some stakeholders in the area for a updated comprehensive plan for the area. The previous one identified areas of mixed use, medium density, lower density, park areas, pedestrian trails, neighborhood commercial areas. Right now, as everyone knows, as you all know, there's no commercial areas west of the interstate along Merritt Road. So any of the development on that side of town has to go across the interstate to get to some of those areas. That master plan that was previously approved allocates some of this area to be neighborhood commercial, so that would help alleviate some of that stress. There's been discussions from the very beginning on this site with the school district about a new elementary school and possibly a middle school for the site. This would help alleviate some of the overcrowding issues at Weber Elementary. It would help handle some of the more recent development just west of here on the north side of Merritt Road for West Side Estates, along with any future development with this subdivision as well. Both of those would provide additional services. There's been discussion about possibility for a fire station on the site. Again, that would be something that would be able to serve the area west of the interstate that currently that traffic has to come all the way from Melrose and Benton through a heavier area on some arterial streets and collector streets to get to the area. I alluded this already. There's already development that goes further west than this property. It extends further west along the north side of Merritt Road for another about a mile, and then another half mile out to Weber Elementary. So this is already in a growth area, as I mentioned before, and we don't feel it's a situation of urban sprawl, but more an opportunity to capitalize on some of the infrastructure that's already in the place along Merritt Road, with the understanding that there would have to be additional infrastructure put in to serve this area. Right now, it's zoned residential in Johnson County. And if you look at Johnson County's, what they would allow, typically the lot sizes would be no smaller than a quarter acre in size, with an overall density no less than 1 house per acre. It tends to favor a little bit larger development than what's in the current comprehensive plan. Discussions with city staff about incorporating the form-based code for the project. This developer has experience in providing affordable housing. They've agreed to and are willing to work with the minimum 10% affordability requirement that's already in place. They believe it's in the city's best interest to ensure higher density mixed income housing in this area, as opposed to developing under Johnson County, where you would tend to have a little more lower density and less opportunities to provide a very varied mix in the housing types. And last, we understand that there's still a lot of work to do on this site. Solar isn't going to be available to the area until 2023 per the city's current plans. There's still significant opportunities to work with city staff during the zoning process to address some of the concerns about the types of housing and the densities that would be allowed, as well as open space and some other things of that type that have been proposed and discussed for the area. The annexation just is that initial step to get the ball rolling and gives them the assurance that they can continue to work with the city and city staff on that updated plan to try to meet the city's goals. They have considered developing, the applicant wanted me to mention that they've considered developing the southern portion within the county. They feel it's in the best interest for all parties involved to work with the city to develop the site in a way that complements the existing growth in the area and in a way that meets both the city's and the applicant's concerns. We feel there's a lot of opportunity to do that in the area and provide something that the city and the developer can take pride in. And lastly, I'd say if the council does not feel there's going to be sufficient support for the resolution, we would request that they defer the resolution indefinitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicholas, welcome.
Hello. I just want to reiterate that, I mean, I've made my thoughts on this issue known many times before, but I would add that it's interesting to me how it always seems to be in the city's interests to underwrite the profitability of some developer's investment, because that's really what's going on here. Like, this annexation is about taking land that someone else has essentially made a bet on and now wants you to actually make that bet good. That's what's going on here. I mean, we can get into all sorts of issues about sort of like, this just gets the ball rolling, or, there will be planning and zoning issues down the line, and that there's already, et cetera. None of that matters. The primary issue and the reason why things like this are so problematic is because what this developer is asking you to do is to underwrite their investment. It's as simple as that. It has nothing to do with affordable housing because they always find a way around the affordable housing requirements. Plus, the affordable housing requirements aren't that great to begin with. So what this really is about is them asking you to make sure that they make money. That's really it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. And if you're on the phone, press *9. Seeing no one, council discussion.
Susan, you are muted.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I am in support of the annexation at this point in time. And this area has been within the city's growth boundary for a long time. The trunk sewer has been in our long-range CIP plan for quite some time. And I have never heard a single councilor question that. And I've been here for 11 years. Some people have been here for 5 years and some less. And I don't recall anybody speaking against the plan to extend the sewer out there, which to me has meant that we have all believed in the fact and accepted the fact that this at some point was a rational place to expand the city. We got information last time from staff on how little land there is left within city limits for infill. We have certainly showed our concern for lack of affordable housing within our community. And as new land for development decreases and decreases within city limits, it is only going to push those numbers higher because you can't add any housing. There is plenty of opportunity, and I won't be here, but I would strongly, strongly encourage council, if this moves forward, that you start very quickly and get very actively involved in what do you want this area to look like. This annexation does not define anything. It does not define the housing types. It does not define the density. It does not define open spaces. As they said, all of that will be part of the rezoning and any other negotiations that they have with the city for fire or with the school district for land for schools. I do not see this. I mean, we as a city have said for a long time that we plan to expand out here. There is no underwriting of a developer any more than we have ever done when we have expanded city infrastructure. I don't believe that we are giving up leverage on affordable housing unless the goal of this council is to change that annexation policy. And I don't agree. I would not agree with changing that annexation policy that requires the 10%. But I think this developer is very interested in doing a lot of mixed use housing at different price points with a much higher density. Obviously, the comprehensive plan that's in place needs to be updated. Danielle talked about that last time. Staff is already starting to look at that. And I think that's something that this council very much wants to do. As I said last time, I don't think any of us, and I certainly don't, want to see almost 200 acres of single family homes out there. I don't think that's in the best interest of our city at all, and certainly not in helping to develop affordable housing. I don't see any reason that we need to delay the annexation piece. We still have ample time to do all of the planning that we need, from a new comp plan, looking at zoning, all those kinds of things, a new affordable housing plan, et cetera, and get those in place before that trunk sewer is out there in 2023. I think the annexation shows good faith to the developer and the landowner that the city does want this in the city. We don't want it developed under county standards, and that we're willing to move forward with them.
Well, I'll start my thoughts on this. You know, from our last meeting, I stated at that meeting that I'm not in any way opposed to developing in this particular area. My concern at the time was, you know, the question of meeting the all three criteria, one of which had to do with the financial burden that such development might incur for the city of Iowa City. Since that discussion, you know, and the discussion has really been kind of framed as this notion that, you know, it's the first step. There's plenty of time to look at the rezoning and all the rest of it. But what came up at our last meeting, and I did spend some time during our break to follow up on this, was the fact that this was an opportunity for revisiting or modifying our annexation policy. When that was said, I thought, well, that's interesting, and actually reached out to Sarah Barron and had a conversation with her, looked up some codes in other cities to see what might be done. I wasn't necessarily focusing on the 10% rule. You know, there are lots of other aspects to annexation policy that I saw in some of these examples that I thought would be useful moving forward. And I had hoped that we might be able to consider them. You know, I did talk today with Eleanor through email, sent her the example that I had found, and felt, you know, there was, in her opinion, some elements there that we might want to consider. However, we're in the midst here now of considering an annexation, and that this is not really the appropriate time. And then went on to say, you know, if the council were to decide to defer on this decision and take it up with, you know, through all the various steps that might be involved, going through planning and zoning, that would be the way to do it. And, you know, as I said, I am not opposed to developing this project. There's no one as a developer I would like to work more with than Jesse Allen. I think Jesse Allen is a developer in town who is actually willing to take chances, if that's the right word, maybe not the right word, willing to look at development from different points of view than the conventional subdivision. So in terms of achieving some of these things that we spoke about, I think I would like working with Jesse on that process. But I you know, in thinking about this just over the last few hours, what I would, the scenario that I would like to pursue would be an accelerated review of our annexation policy. Again, I'm not really looking at radical change. I'm not interested necessarily in changing the percentage that would be affordable, but there are a whole range of other issues which could be considered. And I think we have time to do that. I would hope that Jesse would understand, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I'm interested in good faith pursuing this project. I'm not interested in voting no on it. I'm interested in trying to have in place those things which will make it truly help better address our issues that we have with equity, as well as the other factors that we talked about. So I don't particularly like the term defer indefinitely. I really would want to put a time frame on it, but at this point, it does seem we are missing an opportunity. The annexation as it relates to the affordable housing component of the annexation will be missed if we don't defer it, at least for a brief period of time.
So I looked into the annexation policy after our last meeting and reviewed the resolution when it was adopted and the memos that went along with that. And that annexation policy has only been in place for 2 years. And we've had one annexation under it. It's been within the last year and we celebrated it. We said, this is a phenomenal step. This is what we want. This has the affordable housing component. And while yes, we had discussions about maybe fee in lieu is not exactly what we want, we have an agreement in front of us relating to this annexation that includes the provision that if the resolution regarding the fee in lieu is rescinded, it should be replaced with whatever is in place at the time that the affordable housing component goes forward. So I really, really hesitate to defer on the idea that we should revisit a well-researched, comprehensive policy about bringing land into our community for development. I think this is our opportunity to make a part of the community that lives, that expresses all of the things that we want, the missing middle, the smart growth principles, the fact that if we have concerns about the cost of this development not being sustainable or not being what, not making sense in terms of the city's budget, we can influence that, right? We can make sure that the development is in the zoning process and in the regulatory overlay. If we do a form-based code for it, we can ensure that it's done in a way that makes affordable housing as appealing as possible, as normal as possible for what this developer can do, right? As well as is planned in a way that is walkable, that has the school, that has the parks. I mean, we have all of these opportunities in front of us, and I really just don't want us to forego 200 acres of expansion of our community when the applicant is telling us to defer indefinitely. I mean, that we don't get to say when it comes back if it's deferred indefinitely. That's up to them. And we can say yes, and we can implement the policies that we've just recently adopted to go forward with that, or we can say no.
I guess for me, when this came up and I made mention of us pausing for a little bit, and I think after hearing what Councilor Thomas just talked about it, and that's what I think he's asking for. Is a pause for some time just to review the annexation policy. And I understand that you're exactly correct. This was just done in 2018. I think where I am is just for us to just take a look, pause, and see what we can create, if there is anything that can be created. We know that this past year has brought about, even with the climate change, and some of that I know we can't get into. We can't get into the form-based code. I know that takes time. And just like Councilman Mims talked about, there will be much opportunity to weigh in on what's going to be proposed. So I'm fully aware. I think I would just go with Counselor Thomas and just say, let us defer this. As far as like deferring it indefinitely or deferring it with the date, for one, I think we just heard it from the developers that they would ask us to, if we're going to defer it indefinitely. I would probably go with their, if we're going to defer, I would go with what they've asked. So for me, I would support deferring this item and really looking at an accelerated review of the annexation policy.
Can I ask Eleanor a question, please? Eleanor, if we defer indefinitely, is it up to us or is it up to the developer to get it back on the agenda?
I think the developer could ask to put it back on, or I think that you could put it back on. And I mean, and then it would be up to the developer to either proceed with it or withdraw it.
So technically it's live for each one of us to put it back on the agenda unless they said we're not willing, we don't even want to proceed with it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess
obviously the developer is going to have to be interested in proceeding.
Right.
But my question will be for the developer. Why they said if you want to defer it indefinitely? What that supposed to mean? I really don't understand. If that means like because we decide to defer it, or I really don't know. I don't want to just say like make up an answer for that. But normally when we defer something, we defer it just to discuss it and come back, talk about, like just like bringing more information or maybe just doing something and come back to it. But their ask to me is where, like if you want to defer it, like do it, or if you decide to defer it indefinitely. What that means?
Well, I may be able to shed some light on that, and certainly John can jump back on maybe and correct me if I'm wrong, but the issues the council is talking about are not likely to be solved in one meeting. If you have a discussion on the annexation policy, short of you saying the current policy is fine, let's get this back on the agenda and approve it, you're going to be into a layered process in order to resolve whatever issues that you set out to resolve. Remember, the annexation policy is part of the comprehensive plan. It's not just a simple policy that you change. There's a whole comprehensive plan amendment process. There's planning and zoning commission meetings. There's public input meetings. It would be really hard for the developer to suggest deferral to a specific date, knowing that you want to amend this policy. Same with the form-based code. We're getting close to being able to present that to you and to the Planning and Zoning Commission, but as staff, I can't give the developer a hard date and say the annexation policy or the form-based code will be decided by then. So that's probably, my guess, the reason for the indefinite deferral, because there's really no set timeline on the resolution to whatever concerns you have.
If I may, Mr. Mayor and council, I'll echo what Jeff stated. It's not a attempt to just push it out indefinitely as much as it is an uncertainty about what that process would look like, and trying to allow time to try and get it moving as quickly as possible. I think Councilmember Thomas alluded to trying to fast track that process a little bit. So the indefinite time frame is more a nod to the fact that there's a lot of steps that need to take place. We'd have to work through them, ideally as quickly as possible. But to put a time frame on it is I think challenging at best, especially right now, without having some of those initial conversations, maybe in a work session, about what that might look like from the council standpoint about some of their expectations. Again, Councilmember Thomas alluded to some ideas, having an opportunity to hear some of those ideas, and maybe that does a little bit better job of framing how quickly things could move forward as opposed to being indefinite.
I mean, can I ask
Thank you.
Jeff, if we're looking a comp plan amendment, a zoning process, and then back to council, we've got to be looking at least 6 months, don't we, or longer?
3 to 4 months would be the normal process. With this, wasn't involved in the initial adoption, but I'm sure it had steps before planning commission that we would want to check in and see if we need to go back even maybe a step closer to the grassroots and do some other stakeholder engagement rather than just starting with planning commission.
I think one of the things the council needs to remember about the policy is that the policy kind of, it sets the broad-based numbers, that 10%, that 20 years, but it gives the city and you know, staff and the council really the ability to shape that however you want it. So if it's you know, an emphasis on fee in lieu, you know, that can be communicated to staff. If it's an emphasis on avoiding fee in lieu, that can be you know, emphasized to staff, and we can work that into the eventual affordable housing agreement that has to be signed. So if it's a matter of execution and you're comfortable with that 10%, 20-year framework, then you don't need to amend the plan. You probably need to have some discussions between now and 2023 or 2024 when that zoning comes back on what your expectations are. Now, if you want to throw out the 10% and 20 years, if you want to throw that out and start completely over, that's when you're starting to talk about a half a year's process, and you can't accelerate public meetings, the public meeting schedule. So that's just that's the path you're going down.
I'd add to that too, that the policy also contemplates ownership by an affordable housing provider. And we are in a far better place to frame what that affordable housing looks like than we are, you know, in the rezoning context with RFC. I think another thing that you really need to give some thought to is the legislature is back in session, and we don't know what proposals might be made when they come back in session. In terms of what the authority of a city is with respect to affordable housing.
Well, I'm going to be kind of the odd man out on this, because my decision on this really doesn't even lie on annexation, the annexation policy and revisiting that. It's more on my belief that, and this is coming from West Side, or I live on the West Side, that expansion to the western outskirts of our city just doesn't seem to be what our community needs right now. Looking down the road, we've talked about some of our departments are taxed as it is for equipment and for personnel. And you're looking at needs for police and fire and transit and the parks maintenance and the streets maintenance, you know, all of these things. And granted, that's further down the line, but that's still going to come out of our budget, which, you know, we're talking about this, and it's kind of tight and could get even tighter, as, you know, as you mentioned, Eleanor, about the legislature. We don't know what's going to come out of that either, as far as funding to the cities and those kinds of things. So it just concerns me. And I think that the developer has some kind of lofty ideas of what would be in this development, such as like the commercial aspect of it. I just can't see that.
Just to clarify, I was referring to something more such as what happened in the legislature with the rental permit caps.
I wonder if Councilor Weiner wanted to chime in any more comments from Mayor Pro Tem.
I've been sort of weighing what to say or what not to say at this point. I'm on, having listened to everyone, it still strikes me as an opportunity, and essentially, if I'm looking for a metaphor, sort of clay which we can work with and put our imprint on. And in some senses, to mix my metaphors, it's when I think about what Councillor Taylor just said, it's a little bit of chicken and egg, because as we expand our city and expand housing opportunities and expand mixed housing and denser housing, that also increases the tax base. And so the tax base also allows for expansion of services. So that's not a particular, I mean, yes, we want to find out what it would cost, but that as we move along, but that's not so much a concern of mine. Actually, as someone who lives on the west side, I would welcome the potential for more commercial. I worry that, as Councillor Mims said earlier, that if we, and I think Councillor Burgess said that if we turn this down or push it off substantially, that ultimately what we may be doing, if we don't get around to finishing whatever project, the project with either the annexation policy or affordable housing, that we could end up with with a number of county lots there instead, which I don't think is what we want on that end of the city. So I mean, I come down right now on the side of bringing it into the city and us having the opportunity to mold this and work with city staff and work with the developer and make it into the portion of the community that we want to see, rather than sort of potentially closing off opportunity.
Yeah, I haven't really talked about my opinion on this. I just was asking about the deferring. But thank you, Mayor. I would like just to say this is almost 200 acres in the west side. And it is not like really a small amount of land. And, the west side right now, it become very expensive, by the way, for like houses there and rent. If you rent over there always high. And, if you buy or anything, is still high. So I really don't want to see our city become segregated by income, where like wealthy people will live on that area. And that's why for me it is very important to have affordable housing in this project. Is this almost 200 acres to have affordable houses, because we want people to be like certain people to live in this land. We need like a lot of people who can afford it. How people can afford it to have affordable house there? I understand that the 10% is new for the annexation for affordable housing for 10 years. But just we talked about it last year during Black Lives Matter. And one of the things that we talked about was affordable housing, changing the affordable housing plan. And the 10% that we have for annexation and for 10% of affordable housing for new building, I always was saying is not enough. And even though it is new and we have to celebrate that, we have it. Before, like if we look up like many years ago, we don't even have this. Yeah, thank you for at least we implemented, but this is not enough. That's why I believe we need to wait on this until we change our annexation policy and try to figure out what we want to do exactly, since we already committed to do affordable housing plan. And that will be one of them. I will rather defer it, but I'm going to be just like, Council Thomas, I'm not against this at all. I want this to be developed. I will support the development here and that annexation, but wait.
Mayor Pro Tem Lee, you actually hit a raw nerve for me, and almost and changing my opinion on this piece, because you talked about the wealthy, and we are seeing that homes, $350,000, $400,000. And my fear then is, it's been mentioned, if we don't annex it and it goes to the county and the county approves the development there, that's quite likely what'll be there. More of these $350,000, $450,000 homes for the wealthy. And there goes the divide in our community again. So in that respect, it would be a good thing for us to annex it. And as I think who said that, Janice, I think, talked about molding and, being able to have this piece of clay and mold that area to what we would like to see it. So you almost convinced me on that when you talked about that and the wealthy.
I can't tell you what the county would do, but I don't think this is a likely, personally, that's something that the county would take up, but I don't know that. What I do hear so far is, Councilor Taylor, you're not certain where you are. I hear 3 deferrals that actually support the project with a little pause, with a little accelerated review. And that may not mean a real policy review or a real policy change. It could mean something different. I don't know that. So I hear those 3, and then I hear kind of 3 yeses. But Councilor Taylor, I'm not sure if we could either defer it indefinitely, or if Councilor Taylor, it would be nice for me to know. I guess that's not right for me to put you on the spot, but.
Mayor, I guess I was more strongly the last time and going into today, not in favor of the annexation. So it probably wouldn't be really fair, especially not truly knowing. I can't second guess the county either and what they would, if they would even choose to approve development there. So I would probably go with not approving it.
Okay. So I guess
I'm sorry, can we just get some clarification? Is it already zoned in the county, or is a rezoning required?
Let me check, Eleanor. I was just gonna pull up the map, but I didn't want to accidentally show everybody my.
I mean, I want to make sure you've got good information.
Yeah, I believe it's zoned residential, and I can also look up for you whether it's in their growth plan. Just a second.
The other thing I would just mention, and I have no idea what the agreements are, but Eleanor mentioned this last time, lots of times in these situations, there are, contracts in place to purchase based on an annexation. And you never know when those expire. Since they're asking for an indefinite deferral, my assumption probably is they do have some time for us to work on this. But I guess when I hear that from John, that you're not necessarily talking about changing that 10%, then I guess if we're not going to necessarily change that piece of it, change that 10% for 20 years, which is what the current annexation policy is, then I guess I question, can't we work on the rest of that once we've gotten it annexed, because we still have those agreements to negotiate and put in place as we work with the developer. I just, we have no more land in Iowa City to develop. We always talk about how affordable is so important. We need to expand out there. I think you keep delaying, you also increase the cost of development. People talk about how hard it is to develop with Iowa City sometimes. I guess I'm not sitting here really seeing what we are really gaining the weight. And I think Councilor Burgess put it really well. I mean, we've got a policy that we put in place just 2 years ago after significant research and significant discussion. Community felt really good that was a change that we got in place. And we've done all of one annexation, and now we're saying we need to change it again. And I don't know, I guess I'm just questioning the need for the delay.
Well, in response to that, as I mentioned, I did speak with Sarah and also forwarded to at least the one example I had that I was looking at in terms of an annexation policy to Eleanor. And, you know, I think the sense I had from Eleanor and even probably to a larger extent, you heard Sarah this evening, was while what we have in place, I think we all felt pretty good about, it could be better. And so that's kind of where I ended there. It seemed to me that, yes, we could try to negotiate those things. As I said, I have enjoyed, you know, in my time here working with Jesse Allen on projects. I think he's one of the more open minded developers we have in terms of working with whether it's the neighborhood or staff on coming up with creative solutions. But it does seem to me we have time to have, you know, to have, as Bruce called it, that pause and call for, you know, an accelerated process, as I was suggesting, to see how we can improve the policy within a reasonable time frame. And that, frankly, it may give us more time to also, not that it's necessary, but I see this project moving forward on all fronts. It's not as if, you know, as I said at the outset, I would like to see this project move forward. I would like to see it, frankly, I wish we had a better comprehensive plan. That's another one of my frustrations is we're working from an outdated comprehensive plan. To have a little bit more conversation about what the vision for this development might be. But I think, yeah, specific to the annexation and affordable housing, it did seem this is not simply a formality in this regard. It is the best opportunity we have to try to identify how we can improve our affordable housing policy as it relates to annexation.
John, I'm going to have to clarify my comments to you. I was not commenting on the substance of the ordinance that you sent me at all. I did not review that ordinance other than to see that it was an annexation ordinance. The point of my comment was simply that the time to do that is not in the context of a pending annexation, when that needs to be reviewed under the current comprehensive plan, and that if you wanted to take up that discussion, you could, but it certainly was not my intention to review that from a substantive perspective and give you any opinion on that.
No, I didn't, as I said, sense that you were strongly supporting what was in that ordinance. I think the word you use may be useful. I don't recall your exact language, but in any event, you know, the stronger point that you were making was that if we wanted to do this, here's what we would need to do. And so that's what I'm discussing tonight. And I do hope we can, if we were to go down this route, you know, take an aggressive, accelerated approach toward coming up with the language so we can then approve the annexation.
I wanted to have Danielle respond. Thank you.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. I have had a chance to double check. It is currently zoned Johnson County R district, which is up to 4 units per acre. And it's actually on their future land use map. So their intention for this long-term planning wise is that this area would develop as residential. So they've identified it as an area that's appropriate for county residential development.
Eleanor, I have a question for you. I really don't know yet where we are landing and is it going to move forward or not. But that question, yes, for you, Eleanor, understand what the current policy is for annexation, which is the 10% and everything. But if the developer come up with their own plan for affordable housing that the council like, even though the current policy, they have the right to use the current policy. I understand that. But if they come with like more thing or more ideas, because they talked about the mixed income housing and all this, while I guess the developer was presenting, I just want to know if they came up with this kind of like proposal, can we still move for it? And that will be something that we can do for affordable housing?
Well, I think the whole form-based code provides an opportunity to review what other types of strategies you can use to make housing affordable. There's been talk about allowing duplexes, not just on corners, but in other places, et cetera. And clearly, if the developer chose, you know, when they get down the road and have penciled all this out and have figured out exactly what they're going to do, that they wanted to provide more affordable housing than what they were obligated to provide under the annexation agreement, they could certainly do that.
So I did want to maybe just chime in, at least here, to figure out, I think we either need to hear a deferral, a motion for deferral. And if there is going to be movement during this time to do some review, maybe we should at least assign I don't know if council is comfortable assigning maybe 2 counselors with the city manager to have a discussion. Because I think the challenge the last time was there was no movement. We deferred it and there was no movement.
Well, I think if you defer it because of the split on council, you need to have those deliberations probably in a work session with the whole group and not just two. If it's a little different if there seems to be a unanimous feeling on an issue, but when there's a split like this, it's probably best to have a special work session or just dedicate one of your regular work sessions to the topic.
Okay. So then I know, go right ahead, Councilor Mims.
I'm sorry, I guess, you know, this kind of thought came to me as Eleanor made her comments. I almost feel like here we are in the middle of a process. Somebody has spent the time and energy to bring a proposal to us, and we're at the point of having to vote on that proposal. And now all of a sudden we're saying, oh, wait a minute, we want to change the rules before we vote on the proposal. And I guess I don't feel like that's, I don't think it's a good way to do business. I don't think that's a good way to work with our constituents within our community when we've had no discussion about changing that. I realize we need to get a new affordable housing plan put in place. That's going to take time. That's not going to happen overnight. And so the question is, do you almost put all of your development on pause while you're trying to do those things? I don't think that's a positive thing for this community. And as much as we talk about an expedited approach to this, again, depending upon the kinds of decisions that have to be made, as the city manager said, you can't rush public input and public hearings and things like that. So I think it's really hard to know the length of time that it's going to take. We still have, 3+ years to negotiate an awful lot of stuff before they can get the rezoning that they need to actually start doing the development. And so I think, to me, it's like we're changing rules in the middle of the game when somebody's already brought a proposal to the table and like, oh, wait a minute, we want to change the rules before we vote on this proposal. And I just don't see that as a particular, I guess I won't say it's not ethical, but I just don't see it as a good way of doing business with our constituents.
I think, Council Mims, you are completely right that we cannot change the rule in the middle of just somebody like just bring something and we decide, you know what, let us change the rule so you're going to be the first to apply to it. That could be right if we really did not decide this to be changed long time ago, even before we know they're coming up. We decide to look into our affordable housing policy and annexation policy during this Black Lives Matter, and we said this is one of our priority. we already said that. Why is not the opposite? Because they knew they're gonna be king, they hurry up and bring this. How about that? I don't want to put anything like this side or this side, but we already talked about this. And we already said this is not enough. We've been talking about affordable housing forever, that there is not enough affordable housing here. So I don't think we are changing this because they just brought. We talked about this before, and that was the reason. We have it on our master plan, our strategic plan, that we need to change the affordable housing plan. So we had this already, census has been written before we did not show up today and decide just to do that.
So I wonder if we're ready to take either a motion or a vote on this item. And it sounds like I know that we've had discussions about comp plan, form-based code, and all this other stuff. And so I feel like it would be appropriate to have it on a work session in the future if people are in agreement with that, regardless of what happens here. But I would entertain either a motion to defer. Otherwise,
before we get the motion, I think if this can pass, I think we need to vote to pass it. So I think everybody needs to commit to how they would vote if we have a motion. We have a motion on the floor to pass it. So I think we need a commitment from everybody of how they're going to vote before we vote, because the applicant has said if we're not going to pass it, they would prefer that we do an indefinite deferral. So I would vote yes.
So I think we know Councilor Burgess is supporting this, and we know Councilor Weiner is supporting this. Is there anyone else supporting this to move in its current state? So there isn't. And if we do vote it up or down, it leaves, it's done. It doesn't come back unless it go through the entire, I think it has to go through the process of P&Z again.
Well, they've got to change it too. So no, I think if not votes to pass it, to me, we honor the developer's request and vote for deferral.
I agree.
I will put a motion to defer it indefinitely as by the request of the developer.
Can I get a second? And that Mayor Pro Tem made the motion.
Second, Thomas.
And we'll do a roll call on this. Roll call, please.
Mims,
yes.
Salee,
yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Weiner,
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item number 10B, Carson Farm rezoning. Ordinance conditionally rezoning approximately 196.17 acres of land located west of Highway 218 and south of Road Road from county residential and county urban residential to interim development single-family residential zone. I'm going to open the public hearing. And is there anyone in the public that would like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. Welcome, John.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. We would request this to be deferred indefinitely as well, based on the previous resolution.
Okay.
The indefinite deferral of this is a little more complicated because the public hearing hasn't been closed. We can do that, just understanding that we're going to have to renotice the public hearing.
So I would close the public hearing and then we'll have to renotice it. Is that correct?
Actually, you can close the public hearing and then we don't even have to, that's not an issue. Just close the public hearing and then just defer the first consideration of the ordinance indefinitely.
Okay. All right. I I think I should allow anyone else to speak on the public hearing. If anyone else would like to address this topic, please raise your hand at this point. Hearing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing. And could I get a motion to defer this indefinitely?
So moved, Weiner.
Second, Thomas.
Roll call, council discussion.
Mayor, if
Yes.
I may, whether tonight or not, staff is going to need some direction on how to respond. If you want something scheduled at your next work session, or if you're looking for staff research on a particular issue, we're going to need some direction.
I guess for me, I'd like to hear what council members are thinking too. So whatever you're looking at, John, so the rest of us can see it, and then we need to have some discussion.
Like, I can certainly send you what I found. I think it would be important, and I was, just in the beginnings of the process of discussing this with the Affordable Housing Coalition. So, identifying, and I thought the process that we saw with the Community Police Review Board, their recent recommendations, that kind of format where we do a best practices analysis quickly with the Affordable Housing Coalition and staff to identify opportunities for improving, our annexation affordable housing policy would be a strategy to pursue.
And I would suggest developers are included in that as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
We did that with riverfront crossings, and I mean, we've got to make sure they're still going to be willing to build and they can still make a profit.
That's what they're doing. The Affordable Housing Coalition has builders, but also be sure to include the builders.
So we're going to run this parallel but separate from the affordable housing plan that we're kicking off this year. Is that correct then? We'll try to move this policy review faster than everything else we're doing with the affordable housing plan. Is that what I'm hearing then?
I personally am comfortable with that because we'll have stakeholders there, that developers, affordable housing professionals, a few. I'm not saying we need the whole gamut, but.
I guess if you believe that this is going to take a long time to do the whole plan, and it will be shorter time for us just to do the Annexation and with conduct with the Affordable Housing Coalition, of course, why not? Let's do it, because we really don't want to, our aim is not delaying their project at all, because we would like to support it and we would like the project. Sooner we can change the Annexation is the better.
Yeah, I guess, and I don't want to, I know it's been a long time on this topic. I don't want to belabor it, but it's hard for staff to go and just approach, in this case, the Affordable Homes Coalition and developers and say, we need to redo this annexation policy without really knowing what the shortcomings are in council's views. What is it that you want to see improved? It's kind of, it's just a little unclear now. I think a group discussion from council and allowing you to articulate your goals or your hopes for the policy might be helpful. Otherwise, I'm just afraid we're going to get a group together and everybody's going to be sitting in one of these Zoom calls staring at each other trying to figure out what the city wants.
I would agree. I think we need to start with a council discussion at our network session.
But to be honest with you, Jeff, like for me, I would like to see affordable housing. I would like to see like lowest price housing and everything, but I don't have any experience on that. So first I need to hear from the people who have experience to give us ideas. And after that, we can bring these ideas. I really believe that I can just say, hey, Jeff, we want to have 50% of this affordable housing. It's not realistic. I just believe that we really need to conduct with the people who really, if they can bring us recommendations to start with, start the discussion with the council. And after, if we agree with that, that will be good. But before we get some recommendation from people who have this experience, how can we just talk about it?
Do we have reason to believe that the process that happened in 2018 didn't do what we're talking about? Or I mean, that's what I'm missing, like being familiar with who was on council at the time and kind of what the priorities were. I'm concerned about us spending a lot of energy doing the same thing and maybe coming up with the same conclusions. I would ask at the very least that we review the work product that was considered and approved by the last council in the context of our conversation.
Laura, the last council, they started the basement. They really, before them, it wasn't like that heavy of affordable housing policies. And they just started. And when we come with the need of the community and all these 5 matters and all the people come and speak about it, we just start thinking that this is not enough. We need to do more. That's all. I don't say by any means they did not do a good job. They did amazing job by starting like this kind of policy. But that's my own opinion. We would like to see, I would like to see more. Let me put it that way.
Well, I think this is getting really mixed up with just changing an annexation policy and then trying to get the whole affordable housing policy updated before we do this. I mean, I'm hearing both messages. And so, I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding the Mayor Pro Tem, but I'm getting the sense that you're talking about a more comprehensive, getting the more comprehensive affordable housing policy done before we do. Okay, then I'm misunderstanding you.
No, I just even addressed Jeff said that if like doing that would take long time, let us just focus on the annexation only.
But at the same time, though, I know you need input from other people, but I think just in terms of getting some basic direction from the council, for instance, are we talking about substantively in terms of the 10% threshold and the 20-year threshold, or are we talking about is it an and, or are we talking about the ways in which that affordable housing obligation can be met? I mean, just some basic, we could look at ordinances in other cities from now until eternity. But we need some direction from the council as to where you want this to go.
So I think I'm hearing overall there being a work session from council. We can certainly invite anyone that is a affordable housing specialist to weigh in, and we can certainly reach out between now and the next council meeting. So I think people are amenable to putting this on the work session, and so let's just go with that for a future work session. We'll try to get it on as soon as possible.
And Mayor, I really would like, yeah, I agree 100%. But I would like to encourage all the people who have experience, like Affordable Housing Coalition, Habitat for Humanity, any people who really have experience with this, to send us something about this topic. And, you know, I really encourage you to do that.
Great. All right. Any other comments from councilors? Roll call, please.
Salee?
Is this for that? Yes. I don't know. I forget. Yes.
This is to defer, I think. Right?
This
Yes.
is to, yes.
Okay.
The motion was to,
Taylor?
Yes.
Teague?
yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Weiner?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 10C, rezoning 410 and 412 North Clinton Street. Ordinance rezoning property located at 410, 412 North Clinton Street from high-density multifamily residential to RM 44 with a historic district overlay. And I'm going to open the public hearing.
Evening, Mayor, I'll give a brief presentation on this one for you tonight, and I'll take the slides down so they're not in your way. This is a request for a historic overlay rezoning of the property located, indicated in white on the slide at 410, 412 North Clinton Street by the current owners, Jeff and Brian Clark. Let's see if I can advance my slides here. This is the existing zoning. With the underlying zoning would not change. It would still be PRM. I'm sorry, it would be RM44 with the overlay zoning district over top of it. There are additional applications that coincide with some property to the south of this, which would be changing its zoning designation. This property would only be having the historic district overlay applied to it. This is for a house that's been before the council before and talked about frequently in the past, but it's a stately two-story brick Italianate style house that's been reviewed by the Historic Planning Commission. As you'll recall, the designation was attempted previously under the application submitted by the city in 2018, which failed. After that failure, staff began working with the applicant to find a way to get the historic designation made. As I mentioned, there's some other applications in conjunction with this dealing with the PRM text amendment and a rezoning of adjacent property to a PRM zone. Because this is a landmark designation applied through a zoning overlay, it is reviewed both by the Historic Preservation Commission and the Planning and Zoning Commission. As well as in 2018, and with this application, the Historic Preservation Commission has conducted their hearings and evaluated the historic significance of the property and found that it meets requirements for landmarking. The Planning and Zoning Commission did also look at the requirements for the rezoning application itself and has found that historic preservation is well within the goals and vision of the comprehensive plan. As I mentioned, there's other applications that have started and are awaiting this case to catch up with it before they are completed. They're the following agenda items on your agenda tonight. This is the first reading of this case. It would have at least one or two more if condensed, not condensed, and then all three of the rezoning of the adjacent property, the text amendment for the PRM zone, and this rezoning would conclude at the same time. So based on the applicable review criteria, staff did recommend designation. The Historic Preservation Commission concurred with that, made their own findings as to his landmark significance, and the Planning and Zoning Commission is recommending it to you tonight for approval. That concludes my staff report.
Thank you. Any questions for Danielle, counselors? All right. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand.
I'm sorry, Meyer, you know, my internet connection wasn't good when she was talking about why did we deny this last time. If you can just give me an overview for that very quick.
The last application was forwarded, the applicant was the city, and the property owner objected to the designation. And so the council did not designate it at that time.
It required a supermajority and you and I voted against it, Maz.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. And is this it or not? I was like, yeah.
All right. No other questions for Danielle. Is anyone in the public, would you like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing no one, council, are you inclined to support P&Z's recommendation? I'm seeing the majority of, all right, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Could I get a motion to give first consideration?
So moved, Mims.
Second, sorry.
Council discussion?
I'll just, as the mayor pro tem just asked, you know, what happened last time. This was brought forth by the city. The owner at the time was opposed. It required a supermajority by council. And speaking for myself, but I believe the mayor pro tem kind of felt the same way, that with a rezoning for historic preservation and the property owner opposed to it, we were not inclined to kind of go against the property owner's wishes. I know that's how I felt. I believe that's how Mayor Pro Tem felt. in this case, with the owners being in support of it, then I will certainly support it.
Well said, yeah.
Okay. All right, hearing no other comments, roll call, please.
Taylor,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Weiner,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Mims,
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item number 10D, rezoning at 400 North Clinton Street and 112 East Davenport Street. Ordinance conditionally rezoning approximately 12,000 square feet of land located at 400 North Clinton Street and 112 East Davenport Street to planned high-density multifamily residential. The staff has requested deferral. Could I get a motion, please?
So moved, Thomas.
Second, Saleh.
Seconded by Saleh. All right. And would anyone from the public like to address this topic? Anyone from council would like to address this topic? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence, please?
Move.
Second, Burgess.
Moved by Saleh, seconded by Burgess. And all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item number 10E, zoning code amendment PRM zone bonus provisions ordinance. This is an ordinance to amend Title 14 zoning to allow minor adjustments to planned high-density multifamily residential zones to new construction projects which involve preserving a separate historic structure. And staff is also requesting this deferral until 1/19/2021. Can I get a motion, please?
Move.
Second, Weiner.
Moved by Saleh, second by Weiner. And is there anyone in the public that would like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. Council discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item 10F, rezoning at 109, 111, 115, 117, and 121 East College Street, local historic landmark. This is an ordinance rezoning approximately 0.55 acres of property from central business zone to CB10 with a historic district overlay for property located at 109, 111, 115, 117, and 121 East College Street. And applicants request deferral to 1/19/2021. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Burgess.
Second, Taylor.
Anyone from the public like to address this topic? Please raise your hand. Council discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Could I get a motion to accept correspondence, please?
Move.
Second, Taylor.
Moved by Saleh, seconded by Taylor. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item number 11, Scott Boulevard Trunk Sewer Extension. This is a resolution approving project manual and estimate of cost for the construction of the Scott Boulevard Trunk Sanitary Sewer Extension Project, establishing amount of bid security to accompany each bid, directing city clerk to post notice to bidders, and fixing time and place for receipts of bids. I'm going to open the public hearing. And welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Scott Silvers, Assistant City Engineer. Just have a couple quick slides for you in regards to this project. As Jason had mentioned this afternoon during the CIP budget meeting, this project generally includes the extension of a 24-inch, sanitary sewer from the Iowa Interstate Railroad northerly along the north branch of the Snyder Creek to the American Legion Road. The main purpose of this project is to support existing and proposed growth within the sewer shed, and then as well as to decommission the Windsor Ridge sanitary sewer lift station, which is located just north of American Legion Road. The graphic that I've shown to the lower right basically shows, I know it's kind of hard to read, but it shows the sewer shed itself that the sewer would service, which is outlined in orange, which is basically bound on the west by Scott Boulevard, north by Court Street, east by Taft, and then the railroad to the south. The estimated construction cost for this project is roughly 1.6 million. Schedule, we're hosting a public hearing tonight. The bid letting is scheduled for January 26th. We'll award it the February 2nd council meeting, and then construction may start as soon as February, and then continue through most of the construction season through September of 21. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions by council?
I'm just curious on that aerial photo where the city limits are in relation to that. Is that easy to point out?
Sure. Let me go back to that. So the city limits in terms of over here on Taft, is that what you're asking?
Sorry, I was just looking at how far outside of the sewer area and as far as the sewer shed the city limits are.
So
is it like in the red line on that?
This right here?
Yeah.
So no, that would be outside of the city limits.
Okay. And the area that the sewer is being installed itself?
The area where it's being installed is right here on the red line, or this black line that follows kind of the red area up to American Legion Road. So American Legion Road is right along this line here.
Okay.
It's in the county. This is not city. This isn't within our jurisdiction. This is being built in the county. The mobile home parks, which you see to the left of your screen there, the west, those are in the county as well. So you can think of our city limits as Scott Boulevard. All the farm fields that you see predominantly are going to be county property that we presumably will annex over time. And then Windsor Ridge, of course, is in the city, which is most of what you see towards the top of your screen.
Yeah, but then the school.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Jeff and Scott. I was just wanting to be really explicit about that given our trunk sewer extension discussion for other areas outside the city limits. Thank you.
Sure. Yep.
All right. Any other questions? Anyone from the public like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. I'm going to close the public hearing. Could I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, Taylor.
All right, moved by Burgess, seconded by Taylor. Council discussion. Roll call, please.
Teague,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Weiner,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Mims,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item number 12, Human Rights Ordinance Update. Ordinance amending Title II of the City Code entitled Human Rights to update methods of service allowed. This is first consideration. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Weiner.
Saleh, second.
Moved by Weiner, seconded by Saleh. And staff presentation. Welcome, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So this is a simple amendment to the Human Rights Ordinance to allow staff to send documents to parties involved in a complaint of discrimination via email or via personal service. During this pandemic, we have found that people are reluctant or hesitant to pick up certified mail. And also many of the parties, particularly the respondents, are working remotely, which has resulted in delays of them receiving documents that we're sending them. So this change would simply allow us to investigate complaints and make decisions on complaints in a more timely manner.
Any questions for Stephanie? All right. Anyone from the public like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing no one, council discussion. Roll call, please.
Pete, sorry. Thomas,
Yes.
Weiner,
Yes.
Fergus,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Teague.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Item 13, purchase of 2021 Taylor Drive. Resolution approving a purchase agreement for a duplex property located at 2021 Taylor Drive for the South District Home Investment Partnership Program. Can I get a motion to approve?
Approved, Taylor.
Second.
Moved by Taylor, seconded by Saleh. And staff presentation. Hello, Erica.
Hello, Erica Kubley with Neighborhood Services. The city is proposing to purchase a duplex at 2021 Taylor Drive for $150,000 as part of the South District Homeownership Program. The property will be rehabbed, converted into a 2-unit condominium, and then sold as owner-occupied homes for buyers under 80% of the area median income. The property is currently vacant. Each unit has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom on the main floor with additional living space in the basement. One of the units was recently damaged by fire, so we know that unit will require more substantial rehab. We haven't developed the rehab scope of work at this point, but we are working with sustainability staff to determine what green features we can incorporate into the project. We do intend to do this rehab internally with city staff. We have funds allocated to do additional units in partnership with Habitat, but due to COVID, that process has taken a little longer than expected. We hope to move forward with an agreement to partner with Habitat on a project in the near future. This will be the 3rd property acquired as part of the South District program, and we will continue to prioritize residents of the project area for the purchase of these units. Qualified buyers will also be eligible for up to $24,000 in down payment assistance. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Erica?
Yes, Erica, I understand that you are working hard on, advertising this, and you want to recruit people who live in the area to buy it. I know that the staff is doing like a lot of good work and want this to happen. But just like some people talked about this, like we need like some people of color to apply for this. I don't know if you already have people of color bought one of the 2 duplex that you have or not, because I know that they have challenging when they come and apply because they are not qualified because of certain things. And I really would like to see how can we help them to improve that. I know that when we talk to Habitat for Humanity, they said that even they can do something called rent to own and all this kind of thing, because those people, they live there, they pay their rent. That means they're paying that person mortgage and taxes, because since they can pay the rent. I don't know really if my question will be, do you have people of color already bought one of the 2 duplex that we sold? Or what can you do to advertise this heavily and help the people of color to buy it?
Sure. So right now we have a property available that has been rehabbed at 2129 Taylor. And we do have some people of color who are on our applicant list who haven't quite gotten through the application process. But we have staff who will work with them, and kind of if they need help going to a lender, staff will help them through that process. I think our biggest way that we're getting applicants to the program right now is just through word of mouth in the neighborhood or, you know, people in the community. But we do have staff available to help people through. We have resources with Horizons to offer home buyer education. We do see some applicants who are having difficulty getting financing, and that's a barrier. So helping them through that is one of our goals.
And is I know that also there is program that our housing authority for the what's it Section 8. I mean programs. They have that opportunity where if you have Section 8, you can buy the house through them. You know, and they pay for you like for 15 years. Do you advertise this also to the housing authority so they can tell the people who have Section 8 or most likely be qualified because they know who's working and who's not, because that's also another thing. But the challenge will be, do they live in the South District? Is that a requirement or not? Yeah.
Yeah, we specifically participants in the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. We work with the coordinator, Mary Abood, and kind of advertise our program and let her know about opportunities so that she can reach out to potential candidates. And if you're in FSS, but you don't live in the neighborhood, you're also kind of the third priority level.
Sure, thank you.
I just want to find out if you had any idea what the timeline is for getting these rehabbed, assuming we approve this.
I would anticipate this summer being, you know, starting in the spring through the summer and it being for sale in the fall. I think if, depending on some of the sustainability criteria that we add onto the project, it could take a little longer. But my expectation would be that we could do the rehab through the summer.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? Would anyone from the public like to address this topic? Welcome, Angie.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Angie Jordan. I just want to take a moment to just say how exciting, as a South District resident who does a lot of outreach, that this program is prioritizing people who live in the neighborhood. Just want to say that's awesome, and let's keep doing it, and let's do more of it and bring in more entities and parties that know how to do this stuff. It's just really exciting. It can sometimes be really challenging, having bought my forever home on Broadway, to see people come and go for different reasons. But this is just a really cool way to encourage folks to stay who already live here. So just want to say thanks for doing this, and I'm excited to be part of, or to be helpful to, as a resident, keeping this alive and making it so that everybody who lives and rents in the South District can own as well.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address this topic? Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm terrified because Angie's camera was on. I don't know how that happened, but please, Lord, don't let that happen to me. Anyway, just wanted to say to you all, thanks for continuing to pursue this project. It's been great to see neighborhood development services build their understanding of how they can make this program as accessible as possible for South District residents. And we continue to be really optimistic about the future partnership with Habitat for Humanity, expanding the base and the equity of the program even further. So thanks for your continued commitment to this. It's an important piece of our affordable housing puzzle. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else like to address this topic? All right, seeing no one. Council discussion?
Well, I would just like to say, as I'm sure the rest of the council feels, this is just, you know, a great program that we've gotten started. I want to thank, you know, staff for the work they've done on finding you. places that we can buy. I know, not displacing residents was a concern at the beginning of were we going to be able to find, enough units that we were going to be able to make much progress. Unfortunately, it seems like some fires have actually made it possible for us to get some units. But really excited to see this continue to grow and in a way that really can get some people into some very, very affordable units. And like Angie said, really help and encourage people who want to stay in the neighborhood and can not have to be so transient in their life and have much more stability. So really happy to see this program, and thanks to everybody involved.
I think it's well said. Yeah, I want to just second that. This is really make me feel excited, and sometimes make me feel like tear when I remember the first day we discussed this and how upset I was. And that was the election day for our mayor, Bruce. I cannot forget that day. I want to say congratulations while I was like almost upset for this. But that's will tell me a lot of things. If we find the right programs with good ideas from the people who really know about this, the council can come along and we can do together if we just sit down and discuss things and just start like listening to each other's opinions, bringing people who have experience, we can come to a common ground. I would really just believe it on this project. How was only one vote, and after that, everybody lay in, and just understanding that because they have new ideas to bring in, they talk to the people and they talk to people who have experience. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the South District. And thank you, Angie Jordan, for laying in. You will be a very good advocate to advertise this program to the South District and recommend people to come and apply for this. This is great. Thank you, staff. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Erica and Tracy Hyde Shoes, everybody. And I guess we need to see more of this in the South District. Thank you, Sitika, all the council member of doing this. I really appreciate that.
I've been supporting this project since day one, since Tracy Haichu first presented it to us. It's such a wonderful idea, Tracy. It was then and it still is now. And so excited to see that now there's a third unit and hopefully more to come. And thank you to Angie, as Mayor Pro Tem said, for helping to promote it out there, because it's only successful if we can get people to live there.
I think everybody.
And I'm excited for when we can get Habitat for Humanity as a move forward on that and expand the horizons of it.
There are a lot of virtuous cycles going on here, and it's so gratifying to hear from Angie, resident in the neighborhood. So this is a Frank Capra kind of story that is really a song to my ears to hear tonight. Thanks.
So ditto to everybody. I think this is a great collaboration between staff and the community, because this was something that was brought up, I think, through joint efforts, and created this program. And I would agree, once Habitat, maybe have some involvement in trying to help with another option of doing that rental to own, I think that'll be a benefit as well. So if nothing else, I think we're ready to vote. And roll call, please. Wait, yeah, so roll call, please.
Weiner?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Mims?
Yes.
Salee?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item number 14, Homeless Outreach Service Agreement. This is a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to sign and the city clerk to attest an agreement with Shelter House for street outreach services. Could I get a motion to approve?
So moved, Thomas.
Second, Saleh.
All right. And staff presentation on this.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief on this. We'll be able to answer any questions, and I believe the Shelter House staff will also be available to answer questions, but this has been something that we've been discussing through my office in the police department with Shelter House for a few months now. And I think as you all are very aware, our police department has had a very positive and collaborative relationship with the Shelter House over the last couple of years. And we've been involved in those planning efforts to advance some homelessness services in our community during those past few years. And I see this really as another critical step forward. So currently our community, when I say community, I'm not just talking about our city organization, but our community does not have dedicated street outreach workers. Certainly there are staff at the Shelter House that perform that service from time to time. But frankly, a lot of that work is done by our officers, and it's oftentimes necessitated by calls for service that they get related to individuals that are homeless. And so what this agreement would do, it would commit $35,000 annually from the city to the Shelter House. They would then combine those funds with grant funds that they have secured, and they would hire a Shelter House street outreach and engagement specialist position. So it would not be a city position, it would be a position that they would manage and supervise, but that would perform a lot of that outreach work. And as you're aware, as I mentioned in the preliminary plan, I see this very much as a step to prevent calls for service by having somebody out in the community that can proactively connect those that are in a housing crisis with available resources. We hope that will eliminate calls for service, eliminate the need for someone from the public to call the police department and ask them to respond. It will also reduce the pressures on our officers to perform that basic homeless outreach service to the community. So again, very excited about this. With council's approval tonight, I think we'll be able to move forward on that pretty quick and get the agreement signed with the Shelter House and allow them to go out and recruit for this important position.
Thanks, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? All right. Would anyone from the public like to address this topic? If so, please raise your hand. All right. Seeing no one. Council discussion.
I think this is really good. I just appreciate the city support of the homeless, and I know that we going like far and beyond try to like figure out ways to solve the homelessness in our community. And this is one of the things, especially if the police was the one who dealing with those, that's what I don't want to see. And providing this money for a civil person to do it, that would make like really trust and like, you know, good communications with the public rather than the police dealing with those people where can create a fear or something like that. But I really thank you for the city of doing that. That's a great idea. And also thank you for the Shelter House with the great job that they always do.
This is, I think it's a wonderful idea. It's, from my understanding, it is a best practice that it's employed in other communities. While we've been ahead in some areas, like in pushing housing first and permanent supportive housing, this is something we've been behind in. And if the city can partner with Shelter House to make this happen and give short-term health, short-term caseworkers and solve and help resolve problems before they become potential law enforcement issues, I think that's a real positive.
I would just say ditto. I think this is great. Will really help a lot. We've had a lot of pressure on some of our officers, and certainly started out with Officer Schwint downtown, dealing with a lot of the homeless population that was down there, and he made great connections, but that's not the best use of our law enforcement resources in terms of, you know, the economics of it and in terms of the professional experience. And so this is a much better way to go. I'm glad to see it.
I'm very much in favor of this also. I think it sounds like an excellent position to have out there to help like building relationships with these folks that are homeless, but also they're reaching out to any folks in that might be in an emergency situation, those affected by some domestic abuse, and finding shelter for those folks. We certainly saw a great deal of success with the Cross Park Place, and then soon to come the 501 project. And those proved very successful in getting those individuals into a housing situation and jobs and to their medical appointments. And I just think this is going to be a wonderful thing. And there's some confusion about the funding of it, but just pointing out that it's more of a funding diversion. They're diverting funds to this. We talked about that earlier today. There was so much talk about diverting funds away from the police, and that's exactly what this is. So it's just a perfect win-win situation.
I think it's a great opportunity for our city. And when I think about the unhoused and the availability of services, who better to kind of have that knowledge than someone that's affiliated with the shelter house. And so I think it's great and I support it. All right, we are ready to cast our votes. Roll call, please.
Burgess,
Yes.
Mims,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
Taylor,
Sorry. Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Weiner.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15, this is going to be council appointments, and we have 15A through 15C. We have 2 appointments for Parks and Recreation Commission, and then a Senior Center Commission. I wonder if we'll do this like we've done them all. We'll go about this as we've done it all before. We'll go through each one and kind of determine who's going to be the selected individual. So we'll start with Parks and Recs. We have 1 vacancy to fill a 4-year term. And we'll probably handle both of those together because we have a 1 vacancy to fill an unexpired term. We have 2 applicants. 1 person that's been here for about 8 months now, and then another one that's been here 6+ years. There are no gender, if I remember correctly.
Mayor, 15B, that one hasn't quite reached the date for the gender balance. So that one you'll want to re-advertise due to the gender balance.
Okay.
That way then it'll just remain open until filled, until we get.
Yeah, so we have 1, so the second one has 1 female, the 15B, and we have 2 male applicants. So, yes, so we're probably going to we'll re-advertise that one. So we only have 15A and 15C that we'll discuss, and then we'll do a motion to defer for 15B. And sorry, I didn't pick that up, that gender balance. I didn't pick that up. So 15A, council discussion on this.
I actually had some correspondence with Christopher O'Donnett. I'm maybe saying his name wrong. And also was impressed with his application. So I'd be supportive of his appointment.
I would as well. He's only been here 8 months, and I think he would be a great addition. And sometimes I know we don't like, well, it's not that we don't like, we tend to go with some longer term residents that seem to be committed and invested in our community. But I've met Christopher, and he's very committed to this community, and I think he'll be great addition to the Parks and Recs Commission.
I will support Chris too.
So I'm seeing a lot of head shakes. All right, and then we'll go to 15C. There's one vacancy to fill a 3-year term there. And there is no gender balance. And we have one applicant, Susan Eberly.
One applicant?
One applicant, yes.
Okay, we want to go with the one applicant. Susan.
All right, everybody's in support of Susan. All right, so for 15A Parks and Recreation Commission, could I get a motion to approve Christopher Odenet? And then for the Senior Center Commission, we will, in the same motion, could I get a motion for Susan Eberly? And
okay, motion for Krista and Susan. Emily, that's what you said? I'm sorry. What's the last name?
Eberly.
Susan and Chris for Background Recreation Center and Senior Centers. Yeah.
Commission, great.
That's enough.
Yep, moved by Saleh.
Second.
Seconded by Weiner. All right, roll call, please.
You can do a voice vote if you want, Mayor.
Yeah, that works for us. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. And Kelly, update my agenda. All right, item number 15B, Parks and Rec Commission. One vacancy to fill an unexpired term upon appointment through December 31st. Can I get a motion to re-advertise due to gender balance requirements? Vacancies will remain open until filled. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Weiner.
Second.
Moved by Weiner, seconded by Mims. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 16, item number 16, this is announcements of vacancies previous. Applicants must reside in Iowa City and be 18 years of age unless specific qualifications are stated. Senior Center Commission, one vacancy to fill an unexpired term. Applications must be received by 5 p.m. January 26, 2021. Airport Zoning Board of Adjustment, one vacancy to fill a 5-year term. Board of Adjustment, one vacancy to fill a 5-year term. Board of Appeals Licensed Electrician, one vacancy to fill a 5-year term. Historic Preservation Commission, East College Street, one vacancy to fill a 3-year term. Historic Preservation Commission, North Side, one vacancy to fill a 3-year term. Historic Preservation Commission, Woodlawn, one vacancy to fill an unexpired term. Telecommunications Commission, one vacancy to fill a 3-year term. Vacancies will remain open until filled. Item number 17 is community comment. Welcome UISG, Ryan Longnecker. Hello and happy 2021.
Happy 2021 to you too, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Not really much for me as school is still not in session, but students will return starting probably pretty soon. We have an extra week of winter break this year because spring break was canceled, so they gave us an extra week. So school will return on January 25th, and it will look much like it did this last fall, with most classes being online, but some being in person, social distance, masked, of course. But yeah, that's about all for me tonight, and thank you, Council.
Great. All right. Item number 18, City Council information and updates.
I'll start. Just a quick little thing. Rachel Berg, which she's a wonderful person. I haven't met her or talked to her. She's really pleasant and very intelligent. But she and I, before the holidays, toured the wastewater treatment plant there in southeastern part of Iowa City. And as we saw in the capital projects presentation, there's a lot entailed into that, and a lot of equipment, and those projects are much needed and very necessary funding for that. But I was impressed with the numbers. They said we have 300 miles of sanitary sewer piping throughout Iowa City. And of course, more to come now because we've approved some spending on that. And they process over 9 to 10 million gallons of wastewater per day there in that facility. And it's staffed 24/7, just a very busy place. It kind of took me back to my chemistry days because we talked about how important it is the process of removing nitrogen and phosphorus from the waste. So that was very interesting to learn about that. So I would encourage everybody to if you haven't been there, to arrange a tour because it's very fascinating. But I'd also like to point out that be cautious what you flush because some of these things that say they're flushable, they really aren't, and they wreak havoc there at that facility. That's all.
All right. Anything else?
Well, I just real quickly, I don't have any announcements other than to wish everybody a happy new year. I think we're all happy to have 2020 in the rearview mirror, and things aren't going to change immediately, but hopefully we're on a better path. I would encourage people to really get all the information they can about the vaccines if they're concerned about taking them. And certainly I understand why many people and many populations are, but I would encourage them to, reach out and get information. I know I certainly will take it as soon as it's available to me, which I don't expect to be very soon. And I just, everybody to continue to be kind and wear your masks and social distance. And, hopefully we can get the economy opened back up safely so people have some paychecks in hand. So best wishes for the new year.
Yes.
Please continue to mask up even after you have your vaccine. And so we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we'll get there if we all continue to do what we need to stay safe.
So I'm happy to say that next Friday, if the date doesn't change, I will get a vaccination. And I do appreciate Amel Ali that was on earlier that challenged myself to do it publicly. And so I am going to take her up on that challenge, and I'll figure out a way to do that publicly. I think it's great. I'm in healthcare, and so I am moved up the ladder, not because I'm mayor, but it's my agency, Caring Hands and More. So our entire agency will be, those that want to get vaccinated will be doing that next Friday. On another note, I did want to mention that tomorrow, I'm very excited about this opportunity. There will be kind of a press conference that will be Facebook Live. And this is going to be really talking about why Iowa should regulate marijuana like alcohol here in the state of Iowa. And so it's going to be some local officials as well as some throughout the state. Representative Mary Wolf from Clinton. We have a county supervisor from Black Hawk, Supervisor Stacy Walker from Lynn County, who we all know, a Des Moines City Councilor, a state senator from Sioux City, and our old mayor of Iowa City, Representative Ross Wilburn from Ames, Iowa. They'll all be on this. And this was really under the great hard work of our own Senator Joe Bolcom, who lives right here in our Iowa City area. And so thanks to him for pulling this together. This is just a step to really say that in our state, we really need to look at marijuana and how it has disenfranchised so many throughout our community. And so anyone that is interested, I'm going to post something on my Facebook page so that you can tap in through Facebook Live on tomorrow. But any of our elected officials that want to be a part of that, there was an email sent out and you can sign up to register to be a part. So I'll leave it at that. All right, seeing no other announcements, we're going to move on to item number 19, City Manager Jeff Fruin.
I do have one today or tonight, Mayor. On next Monday, January 11th, we'll be welcoming Dustin Liston into our city organization as he'll assume the role of Chief of Police. And I would be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to publicly thank Denise Brotherton and Bill Campbell for their leadership over the last 10 months during this interim period. You all know the challenges that 2020 brought, and it was just so heartening to have the opportunity to work with both Bill and Denise through those tough 10 months. They showed incredible leadership in the organization, and I thank them for their dedication to the city and to this community. But beginning Monday, they'll get a break from the daily phone calls and emails and text messages from me. But thank you to Denise and to Bill for your service over the last 10 months.
I see the council shaking their heads, so I'll just say thanks to them from all of the city councilors. All right, our assistant city manager is not here tonight, Ashley. Happy New Year to her. City attorney.
Happy New Year. Nothing from me.
All right, our city clerk.
Nothing from me.
Great. Could I get a motion to adjourn our first meeting of 2021? All right, I'm going to give that to Susan Mims, moved, and the last one I saw was Councilor Pauline Teller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Good night, everybody.